Hey friends, happy Sunday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I share these What's for Dinner videos every Sunday to hopefully give you some new meal ideas and motivate you to cook more for your family. This week we tried a couple new things that all turned out delicious, and I can't wait to share them with you. And then we also had some things that we've just really been enjoying lately. But if you are new here, I hope that you will subscribe down below. You can come back every week. As I said, I share these every Sunday, and I have for over 5 years now. So there's a ton of videos to catch up on if you want to watch those. Also, any recipes that I mentioned will be linked in the description box. And now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night, we tried a new twist on the TikTok feta pasta. If you've been here a while, you've seen me make the TikTok feta pasta many times. My family loves it. We love feta cheese, but I saw somebody do this with the spinach and artichoke dip you find in the freezer section at Trader Joe's. And I knew I wanted to try it as soon as I saw that video on TikTok. So this is pretty much the same as the regular TikTok pasta. You take some grape tomatoes, you get some minced garlic, and then some seasonings that you pick. You do Italian seasoning, basil, dried garlic, onion salt, salt and pepper, olive oil. That's usually what I do. And then you take the spinach and artichoke dip. It's frozen. You just stick it in the middle, drizzle it with a little bit more olive oil, and then you stick this in the oven and bake it on 425 for about 40 minutes. And then your tomatoes will be like nice and roasted, and your cheese will be melty, and you can take it out of the oven and just mix it all together. Pop all of those tomatoes, mix in the cheese, and then mix in whatever kind of pasta you want. Usually when I do the feta pasta, I do some sort of short pasta like penne or even shells, but the kids wanted angel hair, and the video that I saw, I think she used like linguine or something, some long noodle. And I was like, okay, we'll make it with a long noodle. I think I didn't use angel hair. I think I ended up using thin spaghetti instead of angel hair, but it was great. I served it with some chicken on the top. I just fried my chicken up in a pan in my skillet the way I usually do. I can leave a video on that down below. With like paprika and garlic powder and onion salt and all that. But it was so good on top of this pasta. And if you like the TikTok feta pasta, or even if you don't like feta maybe, but you do like spinach and artichoke dip, definitely recommend giving it a try with the spinach and artichoke dip. Saturday night, we just had a very simple dinner. We had a very late lunch after the kids belt testing for karate. They are now green belts, but I knew we were going to be having a late lunch after that. So I just planned something that was kind of light and we could eat quick, and it was very simple. So we just did BLTs, made some bacon in the oven. I'm actually the only person in my family who eats it as a BLT, just bacon, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise on toast. And Andy eats it with cheese. Lily eats no lettuce, and most of the time she puts her tomato on the side and she has cheese. And Elijah did put his lettuce on his sandwich, but he does not eat tomato. So I am the only one who eats it as a BLT, and they are definitely one of my favorite sandwiches ever. And we just had some chips with that because we didn't need a lot. We had a late lunch, and so we had just like a small dinner. Sunday night, I tried another new recipe from TikTok. This is like a creamy Cajun shrimp and spinach pasta. So I'm starting off by heating up some olive oil with a little bit of the Chef Chamois garlic butter, and then also a couple cloves of minced garlic. I'm gonna let that oil get hot and the butter melt and cook that garlic in it for probably about a minute. And then I'm going to add in my shrimp. I did 1 pound of shrimp. I like to buy the kind from Sam's Club that's already peeled and deveined. And then I just rinse it off to make sure that they really did peel them all really well. Because sometimes you'll get like a random peel in there. So just double check and make sure. And I just got those all in my pan, and then I sprinkled on some of the Zatarain's blackened seasoning. I didn't want it to be too spicy this night, so I didn't use a Cajun seasoning. And that blackened seasoning, if you don't use too much of it, isn't too spicy in my family's opinion. And so I put that on there along with a little bit of onion salt and some garlic powder. And I just cooked that up until the shrimp was cooked through, and then I'm going to remove it from the pan. Then I added in 2 cups of chicken broth, 1 can of evaporated milk, a little bit more of that blackened seasoning, and 8 ounces of penne pasta. I gave that a good mix, and then I brought this to a boil over a medium-high heat. Once it came to a boil, I reduced the heat down to like medium-low and covered this with a lid and cooked it until most of that liquid was absorbed and my noodles were tender. This took about 15 minutes for me. And then at that point, I added in a bunch of Parmesan cheese. I did about 8 ounces of a block that I shredded myself, and then I added in about 1 cup of chopped up spinach, and then my cooked shrimp, and then I put the lid back on this. I had turned the heat off at this point, but I just put the lid on it and let it sit for about 5 minutes so that that spinach could wilt, and then it was ready to serve. This turned out delicious, and with it being a one pot meal, it's pretty easy to make. And I love one pot meals, less dishes. So that was a win in my book. If you saw the vlog the other day, you know that Monday night we had some chicken salads. So I cooked up my chicken in the air fryer. I like to cook the whole breast in there on about 375 for about 25 minutes. You just want to cook it until it reaches the proper internal temperature. I like to season it with paprika, garlic powder, onion salt, salt and pepper. Whatever you want, really, you can do. And then I spritz it with a little bit of olive oil spray and put it in there. I do like about 12 minutes, flip it, do the other side about 12 minutes, or until it reaches that proper internal temperature. And then we had lettuce and croutons, chicken, hard-boiled eggs, cucumbers, tomatoes, carrots, probably missing something, cheese. But we had all of the toppings, and as you know, Lily doesn't like lettuce, so she just had all of the other things. And then Elijah had like a deconstructed salad, so he could build his salad himself. And then I, of course, had everything on my salad, even some banana pepper rings. And we used the Olive Garden, or not the Olive Garden, the Aldi version of the Olive Garden dressing, which is our favorite dressing. Tuesday night was my birthday, and we had these smothered Fritos or Doritos bowls. This is what I picked for my birthday dinner. This is what I wanted. We had breakfast out, and then we had lunch out. We went to our favorite pizza place for lunch. So you don't have to worry. I didn't cook all day. This is what I wanted for my birthday. Some of you are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you cooked on your birthday or for your birthday. But I enjoy cooking. It makes me happy, and I really wanted this meal ever since the last time that we had it. So in my crock pot, I am adding 2 cans of chili beans. I just do the Aldi brand ones. An 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. 1 can of the Aldi brand of Rotel. Enough taco seasoning, like about equal to a taco seasoning packet, but I buy the big thing of it. And half a cup of water. And then I have also cooked up 1 pound of ground beef with about half of an onion and a little bit more taco seasoning. And then I add that in there as well. Give it a good stir, put a lid on this, and then like everything's cooked, so it doesn't really take that long to be ready. But I put a lid on it and cooked it on low for like 6 hours. It's basically like chili, and you know, chili is really good when it just sits. And then the last time we had this over Fritos. That's like literally what the recipe was called that I found. It's like slow cooker smothered Fritos taco bowls. But me and Andy ate the leftovers last time on Doritos, and it was just so good on nacho cheese Doritos. So that's what I was craving, and that is why I wanted to have it for my birthday dinner, because I wanted it on top of Doritos again. So everybody had it on top of Doritos. We had a couple toppings, some cheese, lettuce, sour cream, salsa. Me and Andy didn't eat at the same time as the kids, so I completely forgot to get pictures of me and his bowls. But here are the kids. Can you guess which one's which? Of course, Lily's is the one with sour cream, and Elijah's is the one with the lettuce. Wednesday night, we tried another new recipe. This is for pearled couscous with chicken and mixed veggies. So I'm starting off by heating up about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then when that was hot, I added in a couple cloves of minced garlic and 8 ounces of pearled couscous. And I tossed that around, make sure it was coated with that olive oil. And then I just let this cook for about 5 minutes until it started to get golden brown. Once it got nice and golden brown, then I added in 1 can of drained mixed vegetables, some onion salt, salt and pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. And then I did 2 cups of chicken broth and then a bunch of chicken. So that night when I cooked the chicken for the salads, I cooked extra knowing that I was going to be using it in this recipe. So this is about 2 chicken breasts that I cubed up and added in here. And then I gave that a good stir and brought it to a boil. Once it came to a boil, I reduced the heat to like a medium-low and let this simmer for about 10 minutes or until the couscous had absorbed most of that chicken broth and it was nice and tender and ready to eat. And then that's it. Super simple. The recipe that I followed, I changed it a little bit. They wanted you to stir in some rotisserie chicken at the end, and they also wanted you to use frozen mixed vegetables. But if you've been here a while, you know how my family feels about frozen mixed vegetables. We pretty much don't like them at all. So didn't use that, used the canned ones instead. And we absolutely loved this. We love pearled couscous, and this was again another pretty easy to put together one pot meal. So another win. And finally, Thursday night, we had some pork chops and potatoes and carrots. I strayed from the meal plan. I was going to make mashed potatoes and smothered pork chops, but once dinner time came around, I was like, I don't feel like fussing with all that. Nope. So I did a sheet pan dinner. I cut up like 3 or 4 potatoes into even sized pieces, and then I'm going to get them in a bowl and drizzle them with olive oil. And then I added in 1 whole package of Italian dressing seasoning mix, and then a little bit of onion powder or onion salt from Trader Joe's, some paprika, garlic powder, and pepper. Gave that a good toss, made sure everything was coated really well, and then put that on a sheet pan on some parchment paper for easy cleanup. And then that went in the oven on 425, and the potatoes cooked for about 35 minutes. And then I did the same exact thing with some pork chops. These are some pretty thinly sliced pork chops. They were thick cut, but I cut them in half horizontally so they were a little bit thinner. So I ended up with 8 of them. And I did exactly the same thing as I said. 1 package of the Italian dressing mix, pepper, garlic powder, onion salt, paprika, and a little bit of olive oil. Make sure they were coated really well. Line them up on another sheet pan that I had some parchment paper on. And then these went in the oven on 425 for 25 minutes. And then at the end of the cook time, I put the oven on broil and let the potatoes and the pork chops both broil for another 5 minutes so they could get nice and crispy on top. We really like that. And then I just made a can of carrots on the side because Elijah said this day we don't have canned carrots enough, and he really likes those. He prefers those apparently over green beans, but everybody else likes green beans, so I usually make those more. But yeah, just had some canned carrots on the side. This turned out great. I don't think I've ever used like the Italian seasoning packet on a sheet pan dinner with like potatoes and pork chops before. I usually use those Italian seasoning packets in like crockpot things, but it turned out really good. I really liked it, and I was just winging it. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you plan on trying any of these recipes, let me know which ones in the comments down below, and make sure you leave me a smiley face emoji down there as well to let me know that you made it here all the way to the end. I hope y'all have a great week, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!